Thank you very much. Let's speed up a bit and wrap up a bit what we have seen today in the various sessions containing issues in Europe. What you typically see at the moment is that there are a lot of issues around palm oil, especially for the consumer. They want to buy their products in the right way, sustainable, healthy, and they get a lot of attention from media, which is confusing them. So I think it's our task to help them a little bit more. But let's put palm oil, which is quite heavily under fire in Europe, a bit into perspective. As already stated today, if you compare the palm oil footprint to other crops, you see that it actually only is 1.1% of the global cropland which is used. So percentage-wise, it's not the biggest issue in the world, as long as we do it in the right way. So let's look a little bit into what should be the right way, and I think it's very important to look into health and sustainability as well as price as key drivers in Europe to come to the right options for consumers. There has done quite a lot of research on customer perception in the last years. And you see that the negative perception is mostly driven around health and environmental concerns, which are mainly linked to deforestation. And next to that, although slightly decreasing, is a lot of attention to the saturated fatty acid levels. Palm still has the poorest perception of any fat in Europe, especially France and Italy, as already stated by earlier speakers, are heavily under fire. And on the other hand, if you do a few checks on the consumers, you see that a lot are not aware of the possibilities of sustainable palm oil. Consumers are a little bit influenced by the anti-palm lobby groups. We have in Germany an app where you can see whether products are made without using palm oil. You have another app on using only products without palm oil for 28 days. Italy is stating openly in the media that we should not give children any palm oil. There's a lot ongoing with regard to the palm oil. Biodiesel as previously touched. So consumers get very confused by this. Next to that, you see in the politics in Europe that there are still a few issues pending. The European Commission is still reviewing the renewable energy cap of 7% till after 2020. The food law issue on free palm oil labeling is still unresolved, and French government still did not come with a very clear answer on how we would go forward with the additional taxes on palm and on other veg oils. And I think that's very important to realize that the media tend to say that all is about palm, but a lot of things are actually not only on palm, but also on veg oils. So let's a little bit look into to the media. Then you see that although there are a lot of negative things, you also see at the moment that things are slightly changing. In Germany, you see now that people are saying that switching from palm to other crops is also not a solution. I think we all know that that's true. Although Italy is still very, very negative, there are now articles found in the latest magazines, like recently in 2016, that also Italy is saying a ban on palm oil is ultimately not the solution. And certainly boycotting is not the way to go forward. So there are many more to find related to deforestation, to environment, that although there's a lot of attention on things like this. We all need palm oil to feed the world. If you look a little bit into the retailers, then if you look into Co-op, which is very active in the south of Europe, they decided to withdraw palm from the shelves. So they took a very heavy decision there. Carrefour is looking to substitute palm where it's technically feasible. Auchan is looking to do without where possible. But Rewe, on the other hand, you see that they say, well, palm is a very good idea as long as we do it in a sustainable way. And Tesco is even currently having 93% of their total palm oil used from certified sustainable materials and aim to go to 95% next year. So actually you see there a very mixed environment. So let us please all realize and make the consumers realize that banning palm oil is not an option. Palm oil is and will be the main source for food and feed. Hectarage-wise and yield-wise, it is the best solution for a growing world population. Palm oil produces up to 10 times more oil per hectare compared to the other major vegetable oils. So we need palm oil, and palm oil is good as long as we do it in the right way. But next to that, we want, as a consumer, tasty food at the right price and with the right health levels, for instance on SAFA. As long as we can balance that in a good way, that's the way to go forward. And we should also realize that palm is very much needed in Europe. In Europe we have a little bit different market than here in Asia. So we need a little bit different melting profiles because we use a lot of margarine, which is different from here. And as we all know, that palm has that's very different than, for instance, sunflower. So then you would need to do a lot of processing like hydrogenation to get to the right profile. And also on SAFA levels, it's very much in the middle if you compare it to some other products. So palm is, I think, a very good product to use here. And if you look to palm as an ingredient from nature, you see it has by nature very low hexane levels. Pesticides are very good, and pH 4 levels are very low. So it's also a very green product to use as a base for ingredients. However, recently, as already there was a session on, there was a new contaminant found, which in itself does not, how do you say, not exist in nature, but after processing it occurs. It is present in all veg oils, so also this is not a palm exclusive issue, but we must be fair there. In palm it's typically a bit higher, so this is something we as an industry have to look into. So let's see what, how can we manage all those challenges, like sustainability, like health, like price, and go forward in a good way. Well, I think Base for All is a good proven sustainability strategy that should be in place, and that's one of the main topics in Europe to sell to customers, and also for customers to buy products based upon. So you see basically in Europe that the whole market is really fast converting to certified sustainable materials. And that means that the sustainability strategy is a very important factor in Europe to take into consideration. And I think in the past that accelerated certainly even more because of all the media which happened. Sime Darby, the company where I work for is one of actually the founder of the zero burning replanting technique, which already started in the 80s and is honored by the United Nations Environmental Programme in the past. And it prevents a lot of pollution by keeping the organic matter at the place where it is at that moment. Another very important topic, and a topic you will see in each commercial in Europe, is the zero deforestation. Of course, you should be compliant with the RSPO principles and criteria. No deforestation of primary forest, of virgin forest, zero peatland planting. That should all be base policies for a company to use as a policy. And you see currently a lot coming on top of that, like peatland management, high conservation value, the HCS areas, and the land development in a right way without creating problems for others who might or might not be the owner. Very important is social well-being. As a group, we have houses of worships for all our workers and their families. We have a lot of focus on things like schooling, on things like fundamental and equal right for people, and on the rights for children. And topics like that are topics which in Europe do have a lot of attention. Another challenge, I think, is the R&D aspect of palm as an industry. And I think with the growing demand of people in the world and the growing demand of need for food, and the Earth globe, which will remain the same, higher yield crops will play a very important role in the way to go forward to help the industry to get more yield available. Another very important topic is the understanding of the formation of the 3-MTBE, DE and the GE esters. That's not easy, but doable. But it will take time. It will take an integrated supply chain. But it will be, in the end, an industry and supply change in the near future, certainly when there becomes in Europe law, which is expected next year to come, and then it depends when it will become effective. All of that is, I think, still not good enough, so what else can we do? Sime Darby, but that's already shown a little bit earlier, has developed a responsible agricultural charter, which goes further on human rights and social developments, on the environmental commitments, and on the corporate integrity. It will be a phased implementation. It will, of course, be verified, and it will be a transparent policy, so we can all see how things go. And there's a timeline for that. All Sime Darby palm oil will be is already implemented. Third-party supplies will be done mid next year, and all other crops will take a bit longer, but we are very hard working there to see how quickly we can do that. And I think that's a real good step forward to go. Next to that, because we think we should be an open and transparent company, we do have a few dashboards. One is a hotspot alert where you can immediately see if there is a haze situation occurring, can verify whether it's right, and if something happens, it can immediately be taken measures upon. And we have a tool which allow our customers to see where products do come from as an origin to the mill. And that's, I think, a good step forward for the customers of our refineries to see not only that they buy RSPO certified products, but also what is exactly the source, because that becomes more and more an important question we see in Europe, where customers want to know all the details. So basically what you in Europe need is good quality seeds which produce a lot of output, so we have enough palm, an integrated supply chain, shipped in the right way to Europe, processed in the right way to a healthy end product which can go to the consumer, so we can help them to make the right choices. And I think basically that's what the market is about at the moment in a nutshell. Thank you.